Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a special guest. We were chatting just before we got on, and he is a wonderful guy. Welcome to the show.
Kimberly, my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell the audience who you are?
Sure. I'm Charles Reed. I'm a CPA, a U.S. tax court practitioner. I'm the founder and CEO of Get Payroll. We provide payroll services and related services to small and medium sized businesses around the country.
Wow. And can we talk about your past? I would love to talk about your past.
Well, I'm a Midwestern boy, and it may be of interest to your listeners locally. My mother grew up in Santa Maria, California. Her father was a doctor there up through the Depression. He was an army doctor in World War I and went back to the army in World War II. After World War II, and China ended up in Palo Alto working at Stanford. But she was raised there and went to UCLA and met my father. They ended up in Iowa, which is where I was born in '49.
Can
And
I
so I'm a
ask you a
Midwestern.
quick question? What
Sure.
part of Iowa?
Davenport.
How far is
It's the
that from Sioux City?
as far as you can get in Iowa. It's the absolute other side of the state. Yeah, we're on the Mississippi. We're on that little teat of Iowa that sticks out to the east. We're on the bottom end of that. That's Davenport,
Okay.
right on the Mississippi. I was born at University Hospital in Iowa City and grew up in Davenport. But went to high school there. Got out of high school at 16. Didn't know what to do. Worked for a while. Joined the United States Marine Corps. Spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. 2 years overseas, a combat tour in Vietnam. Came back and was stationed in Kansas City. Met my wife, married her. She had 5 children when I married her. I claim insanity, but we were married. We were married for 45 years before she passed. So it worked. It was a good marriage. Not perfect, but good.
Understood. Yeah,
Anybody who says they have a perfect marriage will lie about other things.
I
So
agree. I
so
agree.
after military service, I realized quickly that business did not value my military service and what it brought to the table, including being a computer programmer or systems engineer trained by IBM while still in service. So I had to get my credentials. Yeah, businesses don't understand then or now because they've not been in the military and they don't know what it brings. If they've been in, they understand it and they love to hire veterans. If they haven't been in, they see what they see on TV and movies and have no understanding what
I
that's.
agree.
So I went to college, got my BBA and my MBA, sat for and passed my CPA exam while still in graduate school. Passed it on the first sitting, which I kind of brag about.
Good. Yeah.
Went to work for Texas Instruments. Spent 15 years in the corporate world, large ones, small ones, did some turnarounds, some startups, a lot of great experience. Realized I was never going to get to the top of a major corporation. I didn't have the political skills. I was unwilling to stab people in the back and toss them off the ladder. So,
Understood.
if I was going to run a business and I wanted to, like my father did, I was going to have to start my own, like my father did. So, 30 some odd years ago, Ruth and I started our own business. It was a mobile accounting service with a payroll sideline, grew it. About 10 years ago, I sold off the accounting portion to my partner that I'd taken on and kept the payroll and have continued to grow the payroll services and associated services. So we're nationwide. We service all 50 states. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. And my staff says, "When are you going to retire?" And I say, "One day you're going to come in and find me dead at my desk. I've retired."
I would laugh, but that's not funny to me. I don't want to know. I know death is like a rebirth type thing, but I just don't like the word death. So
Well, I
what
don't. I tell people I'm going to die at the age of 106,
I
shot
like
by an irate husband.
I like that. So what was your turning point to want to get into working at Get Payroll? What was your turning point? What made you say, hey, I think I'm gonna work at Get Payroll? I love your background, by the way. It's very professional.
Well, I had been working for J.C. Penney's. I was one of their divisional controllers, and they wanted me to move back to Arkansas, and I didn't want to be in Arkansas, little small town in eastern Arkansas. So I said no, and here's my contract, and you need to pay me off. And they said, we got a whole floor of lawyers. We're not going to pay you anything. So that's when I decided I'm tired of working for the corporate world. I'm tired of other people controlling my income, my wealth, my advancement at their whim. If they want to fire you, they fire you. They want to move you, they move you. You know, it's you don't have any say in the matter in a big corporation. And that was the deciding factor that says, no, I'm going to go into business for myself. I grew up in a family business. I knew what it was. My parents worked together. And so it seemed natural for my wife and I to start a business together. Well, let me tell you something. Working with your spouse is an unnatural act.
Understood. That's true. I can agree because I was working with my spouse when I was in a franchise at the time.
It's
It's hard.
marriage is a part. Marriage is a partnership, and work is when you're working with somebody as a partnership, and they're different partnerships and have different rules and different responsibilities, and it's very hard for everybody to get across the changes and responsibilities when you walk out the door and when you walk back in. I was no better at it than she was, but we made it work. We worked together for a number of years before she retired
40.
and
Yeah,
built the
yeah.
house up on the lake, and it was good.
And tell me, you said we were talking and you told me you were married for 45 years before she passed away. And I would like to say that I apologize. I wish that she was still here so she can be, which she is technically, because she's watching over you, because she loves you, So just because she's not here physically doesn't mean that she's not there with you spiritually.
Absolutely. Agree with you fully.
And tell us where do you see you done mentioned so many wonderful things, man. Like seriously, IBM, Texas Instruments, like you are a wonderful, wonderful guy. Like seriously, educated. You don't work for corporations, multiple corporations. You know what it's like to be in the hands of a corporation, and You chose to sit up there and get out of the corporation world to work for Get Payroll, and not work for, be the CEO and the owner of Get Payroll that's nationwide. So I commend you. I commend you on that.
Well,
Tell
it was. Go ahead.
no after you.
Well, I was just saying it just you know being an entrepreneur is not for everybody. Some people like the corporate life. They like that 40 hours a week, the 2 weeks vacation, the whole bit, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But it's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, get out of it and do something else. That's what I did. It wasn't for me. I felt stifled, and I hated to be at somebody else's whim. And so now I'm my own boss, and I love that.
Good. And it's like with me, I would like to relate and piggyback off of you. With me, it's a fulfilling thing to have a job and have a business. And I know I'm getting my second franchise by the end of next month. And I would like to say it's going to be so fulfilling because when I was working, I felt fulfilled to get a check at the end of the month or whenever, knowing that I put in my work, my hard work and dedication. No matter what the business may be, it feels good to put in hard work and dedication in any arena, in any business. So, like
Yes.
I said, I commend you. Where do you see yourself in going in the future?
Well, we're continuing to grow and expand, hire people, get new clients. Every week we're growing, and we're going to continue to grow. for the foreseeable future. We're having a lot of fun. I've got a great staff, and they're key, of course, because I can't do it all myself. My staff is my key. And this goes back to the Marine Corps training, mission, men, self. The mission comes first. We get it. We get the payrolls out, and we get them to our clients. And we get them on time, no matter what. Our internet was down for the last day and a half. We didn't miss a payroll. We had arrangements and setups, and people at home, and we were able to get everything out. And all our clients are happy. They didn't notice the difference, except in a couple of cases, my operations manager delivered the payroll instead of UPS. So we got all the payrolls done. Then the next thing is your men. And so I take care of my staff. I take care of my clients. They're all important to me. They're what makes the business run. I couldn't run it without them. So
I agree.
then me. And in the beginning, if we were short of money and a check couldn't be issued to somebody, it didn't get issued to me. But that's not the case anymore. Hallelujah. So it's, I try very hard not to let my ego get in the way of the business continue to grow and expand. Because when I pass, it's going to the employees. It's not going anywhere else. They are the key players in making this thing successful. And so when I'm no longer here, they ought to reap the benefits of that. And they're reaping them now. I pay them well. And several of them are part owners of the company, and more will come to be part of the owners. And, we're all having a good time.
Thank you for that statement. And if you were to give a piece of advice, knowing that you wear way too many hats, no, I'm just kidding. And knowing that you greatly wear those hats, tell the people a special piece of advice for the future.
Get rid of those hats as fast as possible. Seriously, you see what wearing all those hats did to me? Okay. No, you have to delegate as quickly as you can. Bring in people who can handle things and turn jobs over to them. Give them the authority that goes with the responsibility. Delegate effectively. Again, this is a military thing we learned. Military is very hierarchical, but it's delegation. It's, I was a non-commissioned officer. I wasn't an officer. I was an NCO. So, in Marine Corps particularly, NCOs are responsible for great things and great areas of responsibility, and you're expected to achieve those things. So you hire good people, you trust them, you give them responsibility, you give them the authority that goes with that. Probably my biggest mistake in business was not hiring marketing staff earlier on. When I finally did here a few years ago and brought in a marketing person, because I thought I could market, but I was getting too busy to do it. And within a couple of weeks, I realized I couldn't market my way out of a paper bag. So, we have done much better since I brought in marketing and the branding that went with it and all the things. You can see the background if you have this, if you're watching this visually, it's Get Payroll. It looks like, the red carpet background and so on.
I like it. It's cool.
It is. It's those little things that go with it, but you'll find the colors all match throughout of everything we do. Our image matches, our message matches. It all flows together. It all looks great. It's out there everywhere and more so every day. We're doing these podcasts and interviews to help sell Get Payroll. My newest book, the Payroll book, is out. It's published by Wiley, a guide for small business and startups. That's part of the marketing program. It's all part of it. So marketing was something I thought I could do, and I realized no, not so much. So
you got a good marketing team.
I do, and the trick is not to be the smartest person in the room. The trick is to learn how to hire the smartest person in the room. Okay.
I like that.
So you hire good people and you give them responsibility, you give them authority, and you'll be amazed at what you get. Michael's my videographer. He's produced some wonderful videos. They're all on YouTube. Some great parodies. We've a Godfather parody, a 2001 Space Odyssey parody, which is fun.
Can I ask you a
Halloween.
question?
Sure.
Where did you start off with Get Payroll? At your house, or did you automatically buy a building? Since seeing as though you used to work for IBM and Texas Instruments.
Well, what I did is when I was after I left Penny's, I was, as a favor, I was COO for Financial Express, and they needed to sell the original store, which was a franchise. So I bought that, and that became Get Payroll over time. The franchisor went belly up a year later. So, but we had a space. I moved it into the game room for a while. I moved it in to the other half of the duplex for a while. Then here about 20 years ago, we built our own building, which we occupy out here in Louisville.
You
So
go, man. I know that's right. The big come up.
we just continue to grow and expand and take advantage of things in the market. And like I said, we enjoy what we do. We enjoy our clients. I've got some of my clients have been with me for 30 years. Some of them have sold out, and I have whoever bought their business. So, I'm in some places I'm dealing with the kids of the people that were my clients originally. So, and they run the business now. So we have a great time with our clients and our staff, and you got to have fun.
I'm
It can't be all
happy.
work.
Can you tell the people? I hate to end it like this. I know I'm gonna have you back on the show soon, but tell the people how they can reach you.
Well, getpayroll.com is where we're at on the web. My email is very simple, cjr@getpayroll. And
Cool.
if they've got a problem and have a question they need an answer to, 972-353-0000.
Take care, everyone. Stay on the line, Mr. Charles Reed, and take care, everyone. It was nice talking to you.
My pleasure.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a special guest. Can you go ahead and announce to the guests who you are?
Yes. Hi, I'm Melissa Bauknight. Nice to see you all and meet you all.
Great. So I had a quick question. I wanted to know, can you tell me a little bit about your past?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a very achievement focused young woman, which bled into adulthood. So I was one of those kids that loved to get straight A's and be perfect. And my good girl really just worked hard to pull me through life. She was my protectress, and which is great, right? A lot of good came from caring about my achievements. And I have learned more in my adult life about just how that plays out in our world when we think that the only way that we get to have love is through producing and achieving and being quote unquote perfect. And one of the things I've learned a lot about is more integrating our feminine energy and the power in giving ourselves some grace, of slowing down, of not feeling like we have to be in output mode all the time. And so I look at my younger version of myself and I'm grateful for her. And I'm grateful that my family taught me the importance of hard work. And it's helped me see how harmful that can be, especially in our society. And so I'm grateful that I'm learning, I should say unlearning some of those pieces to feel more balanced and feel fulfilled versus just feeling like I've got to go, 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 go all the time.
Okay. And you tell us about your school. What schools have you been to, or
Yeah, so I went to college. I grew up in Ohio, so in a smallish town in Ohio. And when I turned 18, I was like, I'm going to go very far away from here to a place where I know nobody, which in hindsight seems just completely wild, but it was what I felt called to do. So I went to school in Tampa, Florida, and I got a softball scholarship, and I was a finance major. And
wow.
so very different life. But I thought if I'm going to play a sport, which I wanted to do, I want to be warm because Ohio is not warm. We played in the snow all the time. And I want to be outside. And so I chose to play softball so I could be connected more to nature and do things in a way that felt much better than just being frozen cold all the time.
Wow, that is so powerful, man. Like you can tell that you're one with nature and that you like sports, which is pretty cool. You're athletic and wow. So tell me, like your present, what is it that you do in your present?
So I am a life alignment coach. And what that means is I help predominantly women really I tap back into who they are. So when I talk about deconditioning myself or kind of remembering who I am before I was told who I should be, I've basically used my life journey of reconnecting with myself and I teach that. So I created a signature body of work and I first help women ground it into themselves. And then from a place of clarity and trust and confidence, they go create or step into their purpose or their soul work or whatever this body of work is that they've been getting called into, but maybe we're too afraid to try it. So when we talk about alignment, it's really about knowing your core values, understanding who you are, and understanding kind of what your you can call it your highest self, your most authentic self, kind of your true self, whatever resonates for you, but what she wants and starting to live and make decisions based on that versus obligations, people pleasing, societal expectations, family expectations, and things like that. So it's really, really fun. And I most days can't believe that I actually get to do this.
Did you ever write a book on it?
I wrote my first chapter in a book recently.
Cool.
Yeah, and my goal is to write a book. And it's been on my vision, like my 10-year vision board for a while. So I feel like I took one step towards that because I love writing and I think it's a really powerful way of processing our past and our trauma and our stories and being the permission for other people to kind of be brave and do things that might feel a little out of their comfort zone, but what they really want.
Is it going to be like a biography or
My
like a
book?
full-fledged biography? Because you know that can run like 400 pages.
I don't know. That's a great question. I haven't really thought about exactly how it would go. And, you know, just feeling into the question, it would probably be about what I've kind of the struggles that have caused me or allowed me to be the woman that I am. And I like to always use my life lessons, if you will, as teaching moments. So probably tying in kind of some of the main themes that have allowed me to liberate myself. And in the process of that, teaching people kind of the steps to do the same. It probably wouldn't be 400 pages. But, we'll just see. We'll see what comes out.
I wanted to add in that when I wrote it was a mini biography. You got biography, memoir. Just know that that is a large step. You writing one chapter, being a mompreneur, being a coach, doing everything that you're doing, wearing many different hats. That is a large scale step.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like starting where you are, right? And that I think is just such a valuable lesson is that, we have these goals of being here, right? You might want to write a series of books, but until you write that first chapter, right? You have to start where you are. And so I always love, and thank you for that reflection, because it's all about these baby steps or these micro steps that move us towards our bigger desires and visions. And we can't bypass them. It's like you don't just like leap to the top of a staircase. Like you have to actually walk up every single step to get there.
I like that. And like I tell the people, my audience, I tell them that if you put something on a back burner, just make sure you either turn it off or put it on very low. That way, you won't burn it and you won't burn out. So that's how I look at life. If
Yeah.
you learn how to work your whole house, you can learn how to work life.
That's so true. I know. I I stayed at home with my son for a little bit, but I've never been outside of that 8 months a stay at home mom. But I always think about, like, I have friends that have gone back to work or are wanting to go back to work. And you look at like a resume of somebody that runs a household. I'm like, well, you're basically a CEO, right? Like, let's give it a lot of credit, because
You are.
learning to manage all of the details of life in itself is more than a full-time job. And then adding in the layers of whatever other hats you wear. It's like, no wonder people kind of lose it sometimes.
So tell the people, how can they, like you being a life coach, I want to talk about that. Tell the people more about what it is that, you want to accomplish while being a life coach.
Hmm. This is going to sound cliche, but I mean it. I want people to be happy. That's what I'm accomplishing. And we want that, right? We want to feel joy. We want to feel like our lives mean something. And so at the end of the day, there's a lot of ways to reach that, right? There's a lot of modalities, there's a lot of practices to find fulfillment and meaning and joy and love in your life. And I help women find that. You can actually live a life that has you feel alive. You're not going to regret that at all, right? You don't want to look back, and regret's a part of life, right? Brene Brown talked about it in her recent book, Atlas of the Heart, and it's a part of life. But if I can help you feel more excited about your life, more alive, more fulfilled, more connected to yourself, more self-expressed, then I've done my job.
And I think you've done the job of everyone else listening today, that you done said a lot. And I appreciate that, sitting up there, taking the time out to grasp the concept of helping other people feel happy, and that takes talent, that's selflessness, you know, that's, you know, that's definitely not selfishness. That's somebody that want to take the time out to be there. Have you ever volunteered before?
I have. I mean, I volunteer my time a lot when it comes to whether it's in this capacity. I run masterminds at no cost. I do different ways where I give back, and
That's
I
exactly what volunteering is.
yeah,
Virtual volunteering.
virtually volunteering a lot in the last 2 years. Yeah, I mean, it's not. Sometimes I struggle because I am a high ticket coach, but also every single person deserves access to their own happiness. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, right? It's through delivering free webinars, workshops, running masterminds. I lead a meetup group that is no cost. It's for people that want to create a business and life in alignment. And I have scholarship opportunities within my program so that, it's not just for people who are privileged to be able to be their best selves. So yeah, it's
How can they reach you? How can the people reach you if they need to find you? And if anybody else need to do a podcast with this lovely lady?
thank you. They can come hike with me in Colorado. Come meet me in my driveway. We'll go up the mountain. My business is called The Ripple Connection. So all of my pages reflect that. So my Instagram is at The Ripple Connection. My website is The Ripple Connection. And I'm also on LinkedIn, as well as Facebook. We appear in a lot of places. So, any of wherever you like to hang out, you can find me there.
You all take care, be safe out there, and I will see y'all another time.